Good morning. I hope everybody's having a great Saturday. I know it's for some folks around, it's back to school, and everybody in Tennessee it's tax-free weekend. So they do a free tax weekend for getting kids ready back for school. And it's hard to believe it's already summer's pretty much over. Guys, I'm very excited this morning. Got a guest that I don't know very well. So it's one of those situations where someone I know who she is, but I don't know that she even knows me. But the fact of the matter is, she's been in the industry a long time, about like I have, 20 over two, I understand 20 plus years. Am I right? Is that
Yes, sir.
okay? It's what I understood. So I've been there as well. And as most of us know it, so it's an industry that a lot of people have such taboo thoughts about. I'm just going to always say that. And I was one of those people when I started, didn't know what I didn't know, and strangely enough, it turned out that I can't believe I'm still here 20 something years later and wouldn't consider doing anything else because I love what we do. But with that, I mean, today's call, I told everybody, I don't know if y'all have heard, I might have a little bit of that bug that's been going around. I don't know if I ate lettuce from Taco Bell. I didn't have Taco Bell, but as a matter of fact, I've sworn off lettuce. So I haven't even had any lettuce. So I've been trying, thought this is a good time to not eat. What was it I saw somebody post? I thought was pretty funny. Ever see a time when chocolate's good for you and lettuce is bad for you?
Yeah. I was going to say,
I'm gonna
Chris,
start eating some chocolate.
you've never been a lettuce fan anyway. I've known you a long time.
Yeah, you're right. So it wasn't hard for me to quit lettuce. I promise you, it was not a big deal. But making jokes about it, I'm not sure if that's what I've had. I've got certainly got something that ain't working just right. But with that, obviously, I'm gonna. This city's really become the main host here anyway. So I'm so proud of her, and I'm glad we got John and Christy on today as well. At least John's there. I didn't see Christy, but
There she is. She's on there.
we're going to have to, for those that don't know about the fact that we didn't get their recall recorded a few weeks ago, we're going to have them back soon because we missed that one. So, at any rate, thanks for being on this morning, Lisa. I'm going to turn this to Cindy. Thank you so much for being here. I didn't realize you were actually in Franklin, Tennessee. So, we're actually almost neighbors. We're only about 120 miles apart. I
I
wasn't even
know.
aware of that till she told me. So, anyway, all good. Thank you so much. Cindy, I'm going to turn it to you.
Okay. Thanks, Chris. All right. Well, Lisa, I've got my lemon water in a Coffees for Closers mug. Okay, some of you may, if you've been in sales, you probably know what that is, but it's water today. I do have a coffee here too, but I did that because you're a closer, Lisa. You're a closer. We'll get to that at some point, but for those of you who don't know Lisa, I'm going to have Lisa really give a little bit of your background, how you got in the industry, because I didn't know you. And you and I met when I went to Nashville, right? Good grief, I don't even know how long ago. It's been
Few
April,
months.
back in
Yep.
April, right?
Mhm.
And so we really got to know each other and decided we may be related because we have an odd sense of humor. And but it was really fascinating to hear your background in the industry and really just your story in general. And you filled me in more sense, but also you're just so impressive on how you build and your attitude towards the industry. I just love everything about it. And you're the way you approach it from a business point of view, things like that. So I want you to just start at the beginning. Tell people who is Lisa Danks? We'll get into everything else. Now, just if you don't know, Lisa's crushing it right now. She is in the top, I don't know, 10 or 15 in the world globally, and she's in the top five in the US. She's I don't know, diamond. She's like John and Christy Oki, just diamonding it all up, double diamond, triple diamond. I don't even know where she's at this point, but she's moving a lot of products and helping a lot of people along the way. But Lisa, take it away about. Let's just talk about the beginning and who are you and how'd you get here? Let's go there.
Well, thank you, Cindy. And it really is, you guys. My palms are sweating and my stomach is nervous, and I haven't had any lettuce, but I still feel that way because, it really is humbling to be here and looking back at my journey in not only this industry, but my life. It has been literally like a roller coaster. And the one thing that I'm very grateful for now is that I understand that in the tough times, in the dark times, and in the times when I've struggled the most is when I've really experienced the gifts that God has given me and has really allowed me to grow and develop in a way that I feel very good about. And I think sometimes I know that when I was younger, I never really thought about money. I never really thought about having a lot of things. I was very much a person that lived in the moment, didn't prepare for impact, didn't look forward, didn't even have, I never even balanced my checkbook. And I ended up getting married in my 30s, and I was married to an entrepreneur. And I remember saying to him, "You're so smart. Like, you're so smart. How do you do this? How do you create things?" And he would say, "I'm not smart. I'm just a person that never gives up on what I believe in, even when people tell me that it's not worthy." And I was like, "Well, I can probably do that. That sounds like stubbornness to me." So I have that. I have that in my bones. And so when we were 44, he had a goal of hitting $1 million in our 40s because he wanted to make sure that one day he would be able to enjoy his kids because his father never had time for him because he was always working. He ran a state farm agency. And so he was very, very determined to make sure that he had a lifestyle that he could enjoy his kids when they were young. And really, when I think back about the journey, I was 44 and woke up one day and I had everything. I had kids in private school, cars in the driveway, a boat in the backyard. I lived in my hometown in Florida on the intercoastal. And honestly, I didn't look for it, I didn't ask for it, but I was blessed with it. But I remember, and the reason I'm sharing this is because I don't know who's on this call, but I also know that whenever I feel tugged to say something, I feel like there's somebody that can benefit from it. But I remember feeling I had all these things, but I had a hole in my heart. And I just didn't know what my purpose was. I mean, I knew it was to mother my three daughters and to be a good wife and all of that, but I just felt like there was more in me. And I prayed over that. And do you know, within 6 months, my husband lost his business. Our entire financial future collapsed. We lost $8.5 million. That is the number that when Chris Doyle spoke, I thought, I know I'm supposed to be here. This is redemption and restoration. This is promise to us. Anything that is taken or stolen from you will be replaced. And so I just decided back then that instead of looking at my husband's face like a deer in headlights, it took him 20 years to get where he was. And he was bearing the brunt of all of that. Like, as a business owner, and Cindy, I know you know this, like, there are lots of things that we all are passionate about we can do, right? And we can go out there and we can put a lot of money, a lot of time, and we wear all the hats. And then if it comes crashing down, guess what? We take all the brunt. Like, there is bigger risk and bigger worry and no sleep. I don't think he ever slept. And and to lose everything. We were both 44 years old. And I remember being asked to go and listen to an opportunity after I had exhausted my real estate license, going to try to up that, and I thought, I just don't have, I'm in a turmoil and I can't work. I don't know how to do this. And my sister-in-law introduced me to network marketing. And I went to a meeting after about 6 months of telling her no, because I thought people did this so they could put wood floors or plantation shutters in their house. And I certainly needed way more than that. And I ended up at a meeting and I heard a trial attorney, an accountant, and a teacher, and another, I can't remember what the other gal did, talking about the success they were having in this industry and the average incomes at the top level of the company. And I just remember thinking, really? I mean, I can do this with support, with a very minimal investment, like a very small barrier to entry. I think it was $29.99 to sign up, just like here. And I'm going to get some products and then I can make that kind of money. And I was just naive enough to know that I couldn't fail. Like, I just figured everybody wins. I just thought, okay, why would these people do this if it didn't work, right?
Right.
And so I was ignorant, but it was a blessing because I was desperate. And it wouldn't have worked if I would have gone to get an actual job because I would have had to change my entire lifestyle and I probably would have been bitter. Who knows, divorced? Who knows what I would have gone through emotionally? This industry gave me hope, and all I wanted to do was give others hope. I didn't have to promise that they could be successful here. I just had to give them the information and ask them to take a chance and to join me. And I learned how to ask early on, early on, because nobody ever asked me except my sister-in-law. Nobody probably ever thought I had a need or a desire for anything. And all those months that I was praying for something or years to fulfill my purpose, it took a catastrophe for somebody to ask me. And so I made it a goal that I would never, ever judge anybody, whether they lived in a mansion or a trailer or a car or on the streets, that I wouldn't share this with them based on what I knew about their life. Because golly, I thank God every single day for that. And very, very quickly, I remember I bought product. I probably spent about $1,600 on a product order. And I came home from the meeting and I said to Keith, well, I just started a business. And he said, well, how much did that cost me? And he was in a total tailspin. And I told him what it was. And I said, I'm either going to make a lot of money or I'm going to be using products for about 5 years. So either way, don't worry about it. And literally he looked at the compensation plan, which I could not read. I couldn't tell you what it said. And I said, just make sure I didn't get scammed. And he read it and he said, well, here's the thing. If you actually do it, there's money to be made here. And I thought, he doesn't trust that I can do this. I'll show him. And I was hit time and time again with people discounting what I had done, thinking that I was incapable, thinking I was a spoiled housewife with a lot of money that didn't know any better or didn't know anything about business. And so I just decided that I was going to make this happen. And I got busy and I learned to become a student of my upline. And I didn't follow anybody that wasn't where I wanted to be. I was respectful and I listened and I could have discernment, but I wanted a proven track record to run on because I had three daughters at home and a husband that was suffering and bills to pay. And we had no idea what our future would look like. And so I followed the system. And that's why I'm at Partner Co. Because the system broke down 10 years after I started my business. And I was used to making a solid six-figure income, which kept my life at bay. It kept us where we needed to be. It was enough, but I never ever could get to the big vision, right? I never saw myself making a lot of success. I saw myself going to a certain point and then I wouldn't be able to break that barrier. And that was my own limiting beliefs. I was a C student. I wasn't the person that was driven or high achiever. I didn't really care if there was a goal to hit or whatever. I was always a person that just wanted to have enough, just to be comfortable, to make sure that I wasn't relying on somebody else. And when I realized that I couldn't grow anymore where I was, I decided that, you know what, I'm just going to sort of put this down and collect my residual income. Well, then lo and behold, I become widowed at 10 years after my husband lost his business at 54. And I realized that that was the worst thing to do because I needed to make sure that I continued to have that residual income so that I could take the time with my kids and heal. Because if you've ever been through a loss in any form, you know that you're not at your best. And my team rallied behind me and were hitting their goals. Not, it wasn't they were worried about me necessarily, but they were going for their own goals. And I realized, wow, the power of leverage, taking care of those people when I could, allowed them to take care of me when I couldn't. And I was so like blessed. My business grew. And then even through COVID, it grew and grew and grew. And then again, I hit a wall. And I will say that I lost all the belief in myself. I made some bad decisions after my husband passed away. I got into a bad relationship. I lost all confidence. And I'm probably way off track here, Cindy, so you can reel me in.
We have no rules.
Okay. The thing was like I always felt so confident and secure because of what I had achieved, right? But then I also realized that I was older. My kids were gone. I was an empty nester. I didn't know what my why was anymore. And then I had lost all confidence in myself. I felt like I was irrelevant, that I had missed my shining moment, that I had hit a plateau that I wasn't able to break. And oh well, life is good. I'm just gonna coast the rest of my life out. And then again, I was blessed with hearing about Partner Co. And I said no for a long, long time. And it wasn't because it was network marketing. I
Right.
don't think people say no to network marketing, you guys. I think what they say no to is they don't believe that it can happen for them. They know it's real. They
Right.
see people living lifestyles. They see people all over social media ranking up. They see all this stuff, but they don't believe that it's going to happen for them. And the idea that they could fail scares me. I mean, it's scary to take a chance on something again. What if it doesn't happen again? What if I can't, you know? And I want to relate this to even what goes on in our business seasonally. We come in and we get this mad rush of business, right? Because it's
Yes.
social media and we see how the system of growth works. And then it starts to slow down a little bit, which is normal. I mean, everything does. Get married after a year, it slows down a little, you know, like, I
Yeah.
mean, buy a new car after 2 weeks, it smells like the old car. I mean, everything goes in cycles, right? And so what happens is we then start to doubt, is this going to work for me? Just like I did in my previous company. And what I realized all along is yes, the company matters. This company, I feel like God has blessed me and said, this is
Yes.
yours. This is for you and anybody that you want to introduce this to. Don't discount it, don't shrink it, and certainly don't think that you can't have it because everything is in place here at Partner Co. I know that from my experience. I think you can listen to people that have been way more successful than me here. I'm still just starting. And I will say this, I love the rankings. They're exciting and challenging. And I think it keeps you going. And I think that's something this company does that really, really gives the people that want goals a place to go. But
Yes.
what's so cool about it is that you just need to focus on what you're doing because you have that burst coming if it hasn't come yet. And then I'm
Right.
going to have my recession back, right? And
That's
we're
right.
all going to be doing this until we all get where we want to go with our own goals. And whatever that is, that's success. If you have somebody in your business that wants $500 a week and that is going to change their life, that is success. And I'm great and happy with that. Happy, happy,
Right.
happy. I mean, that makes me thrilled. I feel like a success if I've helped somebody get what they want. And if I have somebody that wants 10,000 or $100,000 a month, that is here for them. And
Yes.
guess what? All I have to do is help them learn how to do the system and keep them on track by being a role model for them. But my financial goal and my financial path and my ranking is going to be determined on my own belief, right? So I
Right.
think a lot of times people in network marketing that we think people don't understand that this is real. I think we have to understand that people don't necessarily think it's for them.
I think that's a good point. And I'm going to stop you just a minute and back up because you said so many things.
You better because
You're one of
I
the
don't
people
know
that
what I
talks as fast as I do, so I appreciate it. I can keep up, but I don't want to forget that I can't guarantee. So I want to go back and just think about everything you just said and kind of piece this apart because I can tell by the chat that people are loving what you're saying. You are an inspiration because there was so many pieces. You and your husband, your first husband, you had you could call it a fall from grace, like Chris Doyle, like when my business was absolutely going in the tank, and my income, and it's a you're facing a moment of diversity, and you rose to that occasion. But there was a key thing there. Everybody watching this has life happening all the time. Life's lifing, right? Life is lifing to all of us. And what we see Lisa on the screen, myself, Chris, it doesn't matter who, the Okies, we have life going on behind the scenes, right? We're here for this Zoom, but there's always stuff going on. And you persevered past your own lack of certain beliefs. I love the fact that you said you just didn't know enough. You were right. You were ignorant to the point that ignorance is bliss, right? So you were like, hey, all right, they're doing it. Actually, I've seen, that can be more successful than anything because some of the analytical overthinkers talk themselves out of just doing, right? So there was so many nuggets that you gave in there and inspirational items because the loss of your husband, that would be enough to stop anybody. But you said, no, now I have kids, I have to be the one. You were already the one, and now you have to really be the one without any backup, right? And so you went and did it again. And then, as you said, you just keep giving this diversity, life happening to you. I mean, I guess that's one of the main messages. And then the second big thing that I'm pulling out of this is just the belief in that people have in themselves. And it's so almost, well, it's a God thing. I just had a conversation with a brand partner right before this call, and this was our exact conversation. It was their belief in them doing it, not in that it works, but what you're putting out to your prospects, if you don't start believing in yourself a little bit, matters as well, right? So talk
Yeah.
about that a little bit more about how do you get people on your team to see that they can do it? What are your steps that you do to do that? And what can the people listening in who maybe haven't heard that tip from you find it in themselves?
Well, I will tell you that in the first experience that I had in my network marketing career, again, I was coming with absolutely no background, and I went to the top of the company within 15 months. And I really thought, wow. I mean, I was the kid that when they would give us our math test in like eighth grade, and then they'd seat us in the classroom based on our grade, I was always in the last two seats. And my confidence in what I could achieve in life was really, really low because I was kind of that was spoken into me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, not by my parents. They would always say, "Did you do your best?" And I'd say, "Yeah, well, I didn't do my best." We all know when we're doing our best. That's the thing about this business.
Mhm.
You are only successful in this business if you learn how to do it yourself. If you are looking at other people to make you successful in your downline,
Mhm.
you aren't, that doesn't work. And I learned that. I mean, you know,
Wow.
I feel like there's been so many life lessons here, but the biggest one is that I got to pull my own bootstraps up because nobody's coming to save me. You know,
Yes.
nobody cares or thinks about me that much, and that's okay, you know? And so I've given myself permission to allow people to be where they are. And
Mhm.
I have people in my team saying to me all the time, "Thank you so much for meeting me where I'm at. Thank you for not pushing me. Thank you for not like driving me crazy and making me feel bad because I'm taking a pause right now."
So important.
And I've had people sign up after 6 months because they said, "You know what? You didn't push me. You let me come onto this when it was my time." And so, a tip that I can tell you from that is we hear this all the time. It's the relationships, but it's really about what's going on in their life because I know from losing my spouse and I know from going through what I went through after that and feeling so bad about myself. I didn't feel confident to pick up a phone and call people. I didn't want to be on social media. I wanted to be in my bed. And so, how do we expect somebody who's in that stage of life to be able to do this? But you can love them and you can make them feel like they belong and let them do whatever they want to do. And when they decide, they can take off like a rocket ship. And it's just the opposite. Somebody can come in here for 3 months and blow it up. I mean, I could be on this call today and 2 years from now, based on my personality, I could be like, well, whatever, that was great. And I'm going to survive the rest of my life on that reputation forever. No,
Yeah.
it's the consistency. It's knowing that you can find peace in doing what you're doing and your ego is out of it. And you now know that you're not all that in a bag of chips. And even when
Yep.
you're highlighted, it's just a humbling experience. But it's really so that you can hopefully bless somebody with some experience and some things not to do, but to also just feel the connection and the camaraderie of knowing that we go through the same mindset, whether we're in a high ranking or a low ranking. And right now, my business is slowed down And I bet yours has too. Because you know what? It's summer and there are seasons. It's life. But it's when you go to work is when it's slow. That's when you get on every day and you make sure you're on IPAs. You make sure that you're learning the compensation plan. You make sure that you're making those connections and reaching out to people that you haven't talked to in a long time. Because the more activity and the more things you have going on, the less you focus on the people that are telling you no and the less you drive them crazy. I always say, don't get into network marketing and become weird. Just be
Yeah.
the way you were before
Thank
and
you for saying that.
have a
Yes.
balance. Like, did you? I mean, I would have never gone out with Russell if Russell called me every day and said, "Hi, how are you? I just wanted to check to see if you wanted to go to lunch." And I'd say, "Well, no, I'm really not interested right now." And well, okay. Then he calls me the next day. Well, I just thought maybe I could send you a recording of my lunch yesterday. Well, I thought
Let me
maybe
send you a
I could
picture of what I
invite,
ate.
yeah, to come with a group of people to a lunch. Like, no, guess what? You got to be a little coy. You got to be a little bit confident that you're going to be where you need to be and the right people will come. And you
Yeah.
don't have to be desperate because guess what? If you beg people to come with you, they may join and then
Yeah.
they go into the witness protection program
Exactly
and
what
you
happened.
feel like you failed. And you
Well,
haven't failed anything at all. You've
yes.
just given the opportunity to somebody that really was not ready. You're better off loving them, building a life. I always used to say this, Cindy, before network marketing, I would say if I passed away, I don't think anybody would be at my funeral. Unless, I mean, and if it was raining, I definitely know they wouldn't because in South Florida, your hair blows up like this. And the reason I felt like that was because I don't think that I was focusing on adding value to other people's lives. I didn't really understand what it meant to be a friend.
Mhm.
And even though I could entertain and I could, have fun and socialize and all of that, I learned how to be a little bit more um, focused on building relationships with getting nothing out of it. And when I would pour into people in my team and I would do things to make myself better, or to make them better, I ended up in turn making myself stronger, more mentally capable, and very determined. And so creating those new neural pathways by speaking life into other people, I
Mhm.
never had the ability to go back to a negative place. Like when things would happen and somebody would cancel on me, I just sort of laugh it off, like
Yeah.
bless their hearts, they don't know what they're missing yet. And they don't.
Yeah.
So I know I'm rambling, but I do feel so many things in my heart about this industry is about who we become and who we develop into. And I do believe God gave network marketing to us to really squeeze every gift that He's ever given us out. And the only way to squeeze
Yeah.
it out is to keep going because if we don't keep going, we don't reach our potential. And as Keith used to say as an entrepreneur, don't compete with other people. You will never know how far you can go. If you're trying to compete with Anne Wandition, don't
Right.
compete with yourself because you might reach heights
Yes.
she won't reach. And so this is a brand new company, and there's no telling who is being sponsored today. That will be the next Tim Sales, the next Stacy
Right.
Woodford. They're not going to stay there forever because every day we're getting better and smarter, and we're bringing people to the platform and showing them how to run. And so be
Yeah.
honored that you get the chance to do that.
What was it that made you shift from and realize that? Was it just watching other leaders do it? Was it somebody pouring into you that made you realize, or was it really just that when you started doing that, it changed you internally? Was it something natural, or was it something that you were kind of shown by a mentor or a leader? I guess because there's people here. You said something key. I mean, we used to say, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. When we start blaming our team for our success, or my team just isn't doing this, my team, get a new team. I don't mean get a new team like get rid of them. I just mean, meet them
Yeah.
where they are, but it's your business. They're in their business and they're in their schedule. So I love that part. But what was it that made you shift and become better, because I think everybody watching, they see success. They see somebody in your ranking in the power rankings, or that have made it successfully in the industry, and they try to compare themselves one way or the other. I'm like her, I'm not like her, I think like her. But really it's looking at us in it's each of us looking at ourselves and saying, I need to be better at this list of things, because you're watching somebody, in my opinion, I always see it. I see it in Stacey Wolford. I see it in you. I see it in the Okies. I see it in all kinds of people on here that I say, ooh, they're so good at that. I need to get better at that, right? But what was it
Well,
for you?
yeah, and here's the reality of it. It doesn't matter where you're ranked. There's always somebody bigger and better. It doesn't matter what you look like. There's
Yeah.
always somebody cuter, somebody funnier, somebody this, somebody that, somebody richer, somebody. There's always going to be that. So if you're measuring yourself against those
So good.
things, you're never going to win, right? So
Mhm.
instead, when I came into network marketing, I had a literal I was up against a wall. I knew that if my family, if I didn't do something, then I knew what my life was going to look like. And I didn't know if I could ever rely on my husband, because that was not something you can just rebuild after 20 years, right? Of
Yeah.
building something. And so I had to be the strong person in my family.
Mhm.
And that's where it started. And then I started seeing the people above me say to me, wow, you're amazing. And nobody ever said that to me before. Nobody. And
Wow.
and so I was like, wow. And I clung to my upline because, and if she said, do this, I did it. When we used to get cars in our old company, and I didn't even go and look at what car I wanted. I got the same model she got. I was that duplicatable. I was so like, I am not going to rock this boat because this is happening for me, and I never
Yeah.
dreamed that I could achieve this. And I am not going to, I'm not going off the track. I'm going to stay on it.
Yeah.
If she goes off, she'll go off first and then I'll pivot. But I'm following her down that train track. And what I
Yeah.
realized is the more I did what she did for me, the
Mhm.
more, whether people accepted the positive self-talk or not, the stronger my brain got. And I became a better mom. I became a better wife. And you know what? When my husband died at 54, I remember we were all in a state of shock because it was like a oopsie happened in the hospital, and it was should have never happened. And he was 54 and very healthy. But
Mhm.
after going through losing everything, his business and everything, and then having to have cancer and be and dying like that, I looked at my girls again for the second time of the rug being pulled out from underneath them. The first time they were 7, 9, and 11 or something. And then this time they were 16, 20, and 22. And I remember standing in front of the room, with his eulogy, and I said to my daughters, I'm not going to stand here and feel sorry for you,
Mhm.
because honestly, I don't want to give anybody pity in my life. I want to empower them. And I
Wow.
get frustrated sometimes as a leader, and God has got to do his work on me because I can be tough. But it's not because I don't care. It's because I know I have to be tough on me to stay
Mhm.
in a zone, to be able to achieve the things I need to achieve. And I want it so bad for other people, but I know enabling them and I know making it easy or sugarcoating it is not necessarily the way that God has given me the
Yeah.
ability to lead. So we all have our talent, right? We all
Mhm.
have our skill when we're training our teams. But I don't feel like people need the to be able to say the excuses over and over again in their own heads. So we as leaders have to find whatever it is that they're really good at. Whatever it
Yeah.
is, maybe it's dressing professional at a meeting and they always look so great and color coordinated. Maybe that's all they've got going for them. You know
Yeah.
what? Focus on those. So I'm not the best, but that has definitely taught me. And in my old company, I held on to people way longer than I should have at the demise of my own energy and business. But I've realized again, it's no different than raising kids. You have to be able to let them take their journey and know and trust that they can and expect greatness out of them. Because if we don't start with expecting greatness from them, somebody may never have told that to them. And to me, that's very sad to get to the end of our life and look back and shake hands with the person that we always wanted to be. That is my definition of hell. Like, I know that at the end of the day, I'm shaking hands with you and I'm going, I could have done it if I just would have taken it seriously or if I would have believed that I could. And so here's an equal playing field for everybody. And I just think it's not for everybody. Um,
I agree.
but if you try to keep people in your team that don't want to be here, they can sink your entire team. And that's also something I've experienced. So if they're ready to go and spread their wings, bless and release, they can always come back, but work with the people that want to be here with you. Those are the people that matter the most
Absolutely.
because you can turn a fish into a minnow into a whale. You can
Mhm.
really do that by just trusting and believing. Because when I came into this, I would never have thought I could do this. And it was only because somebody who didn't know me, just like you, Cindy,
Mhm.
you've reached out and you've made me feel value here. I don't care what I'm ranked, but the fact that you noticed me,
Mhm.
that speaks volumes. I want to be proud of that. I don't want to let you down.
Oh,
And so it's not about like how much money I'm making. It's really just about continuing to persevere and really squeezing out every bit of juice God has given me so that when at the end of the day, I mean, when you have your husband die at 54 and he's worked his whole life to achieve and have these beautiful daughters, and your stuff ends up in a box in an attic somewhere, it's not going to matter. All this stuff's not going to matter. But what's going to matter are the relationships you build. And just this relationship with Cindy has been a gift to me. And I would never have known her if I wouldn't have networked within this industry, in this company. She didn't sign me up. I would have never met her if I wouldn't have made this a profession for myself and put myself out there to make sure people do know me and they know that I'm going with them. I want to be part of the solution, not the problem.
well, Lisa, I thank you for saying those kind things, but you can just tell when someone's serious and driven, and you and I just clicked right off the bat from the first time we met. So I appreciate you saying that, and I feel exactly the same way. We're cross line, and we chit chat all the time, as we do in this company. This company's amazing cross line people together. But I appreciate you so much and everything you just said. Um, it's a tough statement when you just say, everything you have ends up in a box in the attic. And that's probably one of the most powerful things you said so far, because I think it's a reality check for all of us. None of us are getting out of here. How are you making people feel? What are you providing? And maybe partner co's not it, right? That may not be your path for you. I don't mean you, I mean for someone, and that's okay too, right? That I agree with you 100%. Let them
Absolutely.
go be free. We don't I love everything you said, was such powerful advice and so true. A lot of us, it was one of the things one of my mentors told me: quit carrying people on your back, quit trying to drag them across the finish line. Encourage them, tell them you want them with you, give them the tools that you can to help them and encourage them, but you can't do it for them and you can't drag them along or force them. Sometimes we want to, but you kind of hit on both sides. You say meet people where they are, which I 100% agree with, but you also said you're a tough cookie when you need to be. And I think that a lot of the leaders who are on here now, and if I say leaders, some of you may be just in, and leaders, I just mean they've already led a team to a certain level and a lot of people on their team. But a lot of the leaders have that ability to know when to be tough and when to just love on somebody, right? But it is a fine line, and you're exactly right. So I'm impressed that you actually threw it out there. Sometimes when we're tough on people on our team, we kind of feel bad, but we're doing it out of love, right?
Yeah, if you've ever had a parent that actually parents and doesn't necessarily put friendship in front of that,
Yeah,
that's a
yes,
perfect example.
it is.
But it's a fine line because we're all adults, right? And
Yeah.
we're not running teams of children. And so, and I want to say this too. I don't know, maybe for my own benefit, but I do feel like we don't own our teams,
Mm,
right?
That's
We are
right.
not, when they succeed, it's not because we were so great. And when they fail, it's not because we didn't do well, right?
That's right.
And so I feel like we can't give ourselves all that credit. We just need to stay in our lane and model. Those are the best leaders because even people with titles, if you
Right.
look, nobody's following them, right?
Right.
That is a big, big, I mean, there's a big, that's why I've never really liked elitist, kind of
Yeah.
groups. I don't like separating people out into categories. I do think it's necessary in this industry that we have rankings and titles because that's what we are, a business, right?
Right.
But beyond that, like, I don't know if you've ever, there's a book about, the leader, I can't remember the title of it right now, about leadership and how it really is, it is about who's following you. It's John Maxwell. You're not
Yeah.
a leader if nobody's following you, right?
Right. That's true.
So really it is a balancing act and it's something we can always focus on to be better because none of us are excellent all the time.
Mm-mm.
But I think that if we keep ourselves humble and we remember what it feels like, when somebody else is doing better than us or somebody's business is rocking and rolling and ours is in the tanker, to not allow our brain to
Mhm.
go into a pit. Take your crybaby soup out of the freezer, take a spoonful full, and then put it back in the freezer. Don't defrost the whole thing and eat it. Just get your emotions out because sometimes you have to say in life that just sucks. Okay. And
That's
then
right.
you got to move forward because guess what? Nobody's coming.
Yeah.
So this is your opportunity. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, you're going to know what you did with it. It won't matter where I am or you are, Cindy, or where Chris Doyle is, or where Ann Wandishin is, or anything.
That's
They're going
right.
to be doing what they're doing in their life. This is really where do you want to be? And what do you want? And what does it look like for your family?
Yeah.
That's key because I just told Stacy Woodford I've got a second daughter getting married. When I married my husband and we had three daughters, I knew that he was going to financially take care of those weddings. Guess
Yeah.
what? If it wasn't for Partner Co right now, I wouldn't be going to Norway for 2 weeks next month. I wouldn't be able to have just bought my daughter a car in California because her old car broke down.
It's
These
amazing.
are not the things that I thought I would be dealing with. I thought I would be financially set for life when we had all that money, but it was taken. So when you think about where you are, you can be up, you can be down, you can be up, and you can be down again because it's happened to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And you never know, you've never arrived. So don't ever get comfortable thinking
Right.
that you have enough because if you do have enough, there are a lot of people out there that could use your extra.
That's exactly right. And I love that because the leaderboard changes all the time. It's weekly, monthly, every 6 months or so you'll see a new rise. And it doesn't mean the people who aren't at the top have fallen drastically. It just means somebody else was really on the move, right?
Yeah.
And but it affects that those challenges affect people at every level in this business. Your mind is what determines your success as much as anything. I mean, obviously it's your actions, but if you don't have the right mindset, the right thought process to helping other people, and I don't think greedy people succeed here. I don't think uh, selfish people can succeed in any of the people type of business long term. They can have but you're the complete opposite of that, and it shows in every way. So we have about 10 minutes left, a little over, and I want to move a little bit into, I know that you went Epic Diamond, you're hitting leaderboard ranks, you're helping your team do it. I know that whole line of team is moving and shaking. Everybody is making a move there. And what is it that you do on a daily basis or tell your team to do on a daily basis? First of all, I think one thing I know about you is you wake up and it's with intention, right? Hey, this is a business. I'm going to treat it like a business and those things. But I also know that you have a life as well. I've been to your house. Thank you for inviting me. I know it ended up with a lot of extra people there that day, but
Well,
you and your husband Russell were an incredible host, and I was honored to just be a little fly on the wall sitting in there back in Nashville. It was a great time. But what is it that you do on a daily basis that you think makes a difference? And what do you foresee with Partner Co. and where it's going? I know you came here and you're glad you did. You and I've talked about that, but kind of give everyone here watching, you know, um, really just your daily ins and outs or advice for people when they get up and they put their big girl pants on or boy pants on and they go into the day.
Well, I think first of all, every single person on here is a winner because I remember saying, I don't want to get on calls. Like I've been in the industry 20 years. No, I'm good. I don't need cheerleading. I'm all set. And I have a lot of people on my team that don't get on the IPA calls, but I get on them. You know why? It gets my day going and I feel like I actually have a career. Okay. Because if I'm laying in my bed in the morning and I'm not doing things to, prepare my mindset and I'm just like disconnected, I can't be effective. It doesn't work for me. I'm not that smart. I cannot do it. I mean, I have to be the kid in the front room of the class because I need to be able to focus and get something out of it, whether it's the guts to call somebody or a trigger that I saw somebody on IPA and now I know I need to call that person. It feeds my brain and it gets me going in the right direction. And even if I do zero with Partner Co the rest of the day, I'm better all the way around. I'm more pleasant when I go out to the grocery store. I actually talk to the lady behind me, where two
Yeah.
years ago I just wanted to disappear. So it is put my mindset in the right place. The other thing that I do because I'm 63 is I always keep a piece of paper by me and I'm always updating it. It's not fancy, it's not on a computer, it's not technology. It's literally a handwritten running list. And I write those names that I want in my business over and over and over and over again. And if they say no, I move them over and I put them on the paper again. And I'm like, not now. And I just say, and I look at those names and I just think, and sometimes I'll get triggers in my brain going, you know what? I was just thinking about that person. You know, maybe I could talk to them about this or that. And I start building more of a connection, again, reconnecting with people because I've been out of it for so long, 5 years of doing nothing with social or nothing with my work. I was literally just focused on, dating Russell and having a great time. And honestly, he was my motivation just to get up every day. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's where I was. And the other thing that I do is I don't ask people to join the business. I ask them to join me because the thing is, that's what I feel is my best product is me. And the reason I feel like it's my best product is because I want to build a community for them and me of people that are there in the hard times, that care, that check on your kids, that you want to invite to the weddings. Like that's what I want. So I ask people join me. Now I will tell you a funny story the other day. I used to be in medical sales years and years ago, and my old boss popped into my head. And he's older than me, so he's like close to 70 now. And I'm thinking he's got a wife that's suffering from dementia.
Mhm.
And he's kind of at that stage of life where he's still working. And so I called him and I was like, I want to talk to you a little bit about some products because he's always been a here, checking on my Facebook and writing nice notes and you're so awesome, blah blah blah, all that stuff. So I cashed in on it. And I said, I want to talk to you about the products. And I said, but I'm not sure. Do you have any interest in the income side? And he goes, well, I might be 70 something. But let me tell you, I'm fit, I'm healthy, I take good care of myself. And he goes, and I love business. And he goes, I'm going to work till the day I die. Of course, I want to know about business. So he is fired up and he wants to talk. And then couple things fell through. I kind of put him in my back mind thinking I don't need to rush. There's a relationship there. I'm going to let him. He writes me, don't forget about me. Don't forget about me. So I start putting the press on him, right? Because I want to go epic and I want to make sure that I'm achieving all I can during this challenge. So I got a little different mindset, a little bit more urgency, maybe almost to the point where I could mess up a relationship because the thing is, it's great to have challenges, but they don't have an urgency to join you like you have an urgency by August 15th, right? So,
Yeah.
so I wrote him a note and I was like, I want to get you on a call with a friend of mine, Cindy. I think you really would think she's an awesome gal. And I think he wrote me back and said, Lisa, the harder you push, the more I resist.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, I hear it loud and clear. I've never heard that from somebody directly, but I bet they thought it. How
Mm,
many people are we reaching out to that probably think the same thing? The more somebody asks you to do something,
mhm,
right? There's a level of consistency, which is good. But when you get to the point where you're not reading the person well, or
mhm,
you're getting a pushback, doesn't mean they don't want to join you. It just means they want to have control about when they join you. And so I was like, okay, I just learned a very valuable lesson. And it was humbling and a little embarrassing. And I apologized for my urgency. And I said, but you taught me well. So I turned it into a very easy, comfortable way to be real,
mhm,
not embarrassed, not try to tear myself down or feel bad or quit because I just got slammed, but
mhm,
to realize we're two people in a world where the world is going on around us. This is not Partner Co world. People have life. So just remember, like, take those things that happen, those rejections, those things that happen when you're trying to get somebody in your business and they totally
mhm.
make you feel bad. Take them and put them in your bank and make it work for you. Make it something that you learn from because you can be amazing in this business. The more no's you get and the more crap you go through in life, the better you will end up when you're older. So I don't
Exactly.
know, for most of us, we're in the fall season of our life. And
Yeah.
I know I have a lot more to do before I'm finished. So don't forget to ask people to join you. People want you. Either, listen, they might join Partner Code next year under somebody else, and they might wait a whole year to do it because they just don't want to tell you they don't want to work with you. So make sure that you're a product in your arsenal and make sure you're attractive to other people. And if you don't take this business seriously and you're not posting consistently, they won't take you serious. They don't want to join somebody that's going to quit next week.
Mhm.
Remember that.
And I think that's good. And we only have a few minutes, but I just want to follow up on what
I
you
haven't
just said.
answered your question, have I?
It doesn't matter. This is just this is like coffee and we just have a bunch of guests sitting in the room. It's all good. We have no rules here. So I think one of the things you just said is they may not want to join you and they join somebody else later because they don't know how to tell you that they don't. We've all been there.
Mm. It hurts.
And we've all been rejected. Every one of us, every Brent Palmer has been rejected, right? We all have been. Maybe not Brent. He's not on here listening, but most everybody's had their rejections and had those moments. And that is how we learn. That's how I've learned everything I've done. People are like me, no, it didn't come natural. I mucked barns, baled hay, and milked cows. That's how I grew up. I worked at McDonald's. I learned everything. I learned it as I went by doing. And so that was so key that you said that. But the one last thing I want to bring out with what you just said is how do they work on themselves? So you said post, let people know you're serious, but also your urgency is not their urgency, right? Their time frame and your time frame are two different things. The fact that you're trying to hit epic means nothing to them, right? And their son's getting married, their first grandchild's being born, they don't care about your business right now. Talk to
Mhm.
them later,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So learning to be the right person at the right time, listening to what someone says is how I hear that, right? Because we're so excited that we're just push, push, push. And if you come from the sales world, we do kind of push a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
we can
um,
push even when we're not really trying to. Just my personality. People
yeah,
can think, I mean, I've either been liked or not liked my whole life. There's
right.
never been a medium ground because people either think I'm, pushy and bossy, or they see my heart and they understand that that's just my intensity. So we do that with people. Like we have a tendency to gravitate to those that we feel good with, right? And what makes us comfortable, especially in a business.
So for them bettering themselves, it's just finding a mentor, finding a couple people who are who are where you want to be. You said that early on, right? You want to follow those people and work on the parts of you, be you, but work on the parts of you that attract people so they do want to work with you, right? And it could take time. We've all been on a journey and we all hit it in a different point. I know there's really only a minute left, Lisa, and first of all, you don't look 63. It's ridiculous. But you have beautiful, beautiful skin and hair, and I think it's your spirit that keeps you young. And so, as well, but I just want you to wrap up. You've given so many nuggets to people and so much encouragement, and people can see your heart is real. I mean, I saw that in you immediately, and I love your drive. I love your vision. I love the way that you're direct because it speaks to me as well. But just in the last minute here, just tell people, um, what you see with Partner Co and why you're doing it, and we'll wrap it up and hop off here for everybody past
Honestly,
11
there's
o'clock.
nothing, Cindy, there is nothing that I could do as a person who wants to put my family first, to be there for my girls, to be there for my parents, to do the things that I enjoy doing in life and have the choices. There's no way that I could do anything but this industry. But again, all companies are not equal. But when I look, just like when I was looking for, the daring to dream again and be in love again, I'm looking for character. And this company has character. It has experience, it has standards, it has integrity, it has character, it has diversity, it has absolutely the best credibility in the products. And so why wouldn't I? Like,
Yeah.
what if I'm, why wouldn't I do this? Like, I get to do it on my own terms. I don't have to become somebody that I'm not. I don't have to change my faith. I don't have to play politics with my leadership. I don't have to be anything that doesn't feel comfortable to me, and you don't either. And so that's really, honestly, when I look at people, even young people choosing careers, I think, my goodness, like I went to college, did all the stuff, went to work for company after company after company. I was never driven to be at the top of anything because guess what? I had no vested interest in it. It was a paycheck. And if I didn't produce, I would get fired. They had a gun to your head. Here, we're a volunteer army. So I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like if you just know you're here, and you just marry this place. Like you just know it's part of your life and you're going to do it until, and it's going to happen for you. And you believe that. It doesn't really matter how the journey goes. And don't stop and look at your team. I mean, when if I have a leader, like if Stacy Woodford's calling me asking me what am I doing? Who are you talking with? Who get me on a three-way call? I would be like, back off, Jack. Like that totally makes me feel inadequate. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't like when a leader is
Mhm.
hounding me. It's like, you go and I'll follow you. And that's what she's doing. She's going, she's running and she's going and she's showing. And that's what we have here at Partner Co. We don't have people begging us to do this or on our backs. They're showing us how it works. They're legacy leaders here. I am so honored to even be a small part of this company and to even be asked my opinion is huge. And if you're on this call and you feel like you got into it and you had gangbusters and you've slowed down and you've missed your window, that's a lie from the pit of hell. And
Mhm.
I
Yes, it
feel that
is.
way all the time. I get up, I have a mood. I've been dealing with sciatica pain, and when physical pain is in your body, it's very difficult to keep your mindset, right? So getting our bodies healthy and being an example of that in this company, getting our mindset healthy, there's no
Yeah.
stopping you here. So don't look at what you've already done. Look at
Mhm.
what you're doing tomorrow. I think Brett Palmer said it, and this is the last thing I'll say. Or Todd might have said, somebody said it. Everybody's so in line here, what I love. Like the message
Yeah.
is clear. But don't worry about who you're going to be. Just be better than you were yesterday. That's all I do. You ask me what I do on a daily basis. I just try to be better than I was yesterday. That's all in every area of my life. And if I can do that, if something happens to me, I feel like I've done my best.
I love that. And what a way to end the call. Lisa, you were an amazing guest. And nobody would believe that you were nervous and had nervous tummy before we started. You were amazing. And I think you were an inspiration to everybody on the call and so many nuggets, so powerful. And I appreciate you. I'm excited for your trip to Norway. Wish I were going, but we'll hold down the fort while you're gone. And so I'm going to go ahead and open it up for everybody to thank Lisa. And you can unmute yourselves and tell her thank you. And guys, we'll be back next Saturday. And next Saturday we have Dr. Laura Fortner. So join us next Saturday as well. You guys make it an incredible weekend, an incredible week. Go out there and do something for yourself, for others, and for your family.
Thank you,
Thank
Lisa.
you,
Thank you,
Lisa.
Cindy. Thank you,
So proud of
Lisa.
you
Thank you,
guys.
Lisa.
Lisa.
You were awesome. We
You're the
love
finest.
you.
Love the
We love you.
wisdom.
You're the
Thank
best.
you. You were
Thank you,
awesome.
Cindy,
Thank
too.
you. Thank you,
Cindy,
Lisa.
thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you, ladies.
Lisa.
Thank you,
Cindy.
Cindy.
This
Oh
was
my gosh.
golden. Thank you.
Love you guys.